despite the fact that snow keeps wanting to fall here in Indiana, there is no denying that we are entering into spring, and that means it is homeschool convention season. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what are involved in homeschool conventions, some of the pros and cons of attending them, some things that we had experiences with there, and just some basic tips if you're looking to attend a homeschool convention. Hey guys, and welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. My name's Abby, and I'm a homeschooling mom of 2 high schoolers. And today I want to share about homeschooling conventions. Now, there are lots of different types of homeschool conventions. There are ones for certain types of curriculum, ones for certain types of homeschooling philosophies. Some are smaller, maybe hosted by one city. Some are hosted through a state program. And then there are some larger regional conferences as well. Our experience has largely been with the great homeschooling conventions, which you've probably seen advertisements for or gotten emails about. Those are a series of 5 large regional conventions. And if you look, they're kind of spread out all across the country, starting in March and going all the way through July. Now, we live pretty close to the one that's in Ohio, so that's where we've attended in the past. Now, while every convention will be a little bit different, typically you will have some sort of exhibition hall where you'll have different types of vendors kind of showing their products and opportunities to buy things, typically with some sort of a discount. And then there might be a series of workshops or seminars that you can attend as well. So it's not necessary to attend a convention to be a successful homeschooler. In fact, we homeschooled for several years before we ever attended a convention. But I do feel like there are a couple of pros to getting a chance to go to one at least once. First of all, I think getting a chance to see the curriculum firsthand is wonderful, especially if you've been considering a curriculum change or you've been wanting to know more about a curriculum, but you don't like to buy blind. At a convention, you can actually physically hold the books, you can flip through the pages, you can see what the workbooks look like, you can talk to representatives from the company and ask questions and get those questions answered. And it's just a really nice way to really look at that curriculum and see what you think about it. Pro number 2 is getting a chance to find out about goods, services, or companies you may not have heard about before. There were quite a few booths at the last convention that we went to that don't have a very large online presence. But by going around and taking the time to look at their booths while we were there, we found out about a lot of really great services and products that we just hadn't heard of before. For example, we found some novels and some literature studies that were being done. I got to talk to authors of different books and curriculums. We found out about different services for like ACT, SAT prep. And I hadn't heard of any of these things, or I didn't even think to go and search for them online. And it was really great to get a chance to take the time, find out more about those things. And we picked up quite a few neat things to then take home and use in our homeschool. So it's just a really great way to kind of find out about things that maybe just haven't come across, your internet feed or your Google searches or any of your other homeschooling blogs, and, be able to see if that's something that might work in your homeschool. Pro number 3 is getting a chance to attend different workshops and seminars during the homeschool convention. Depending on which one you go to, there may be dozens of different seminars you can go to. And obviously you can't go to them all, and all of them might not be pertinent to you. When we went to the last great homeschooling convention, quite a few of the seminars have to deal with younger homeschoolers. There was information on struggling readers, on history and science, on different types of homeschooling philosophies. Maybe you're interested in learning more about what Charlotte Mason is, so you'd go to one about that. Or maybe you have a student who's getting ready to enter high school and you want to go to ones that are focused on making transcripts or putting together electives for your high schoolers. There are so many different types of ones that you can see. And it's nice because most conventions will publish the list of what their seminars will be in advance. So you can take the time to look at that list and find out which ones are most pertinent to you. Pro number 4 is getting a chance to learn about different homeschooling styles. This might be nice if you are a new homeschooler and you're just not quite sure how it is you want to homeschool. We're a bit eclectic here. We do a little bit of everything, but some people like to kind of tailor their homeschool towards one particular style. And there's a lot of information online, but it's different when you start to see the curriculum that kind of goes with that style, or attend seminars talking about how that style has been incorporated in other homeschools. So it's just a really great way to kind of get more information about those different homeschooling styles that are out there, whether you want to go more traditional, whether you want to go more Charlotte Mason, maybe you want to do more eclectic. just being able to, again, gather that information and then kind of process it and determine what it is that's going to work best for you and your family. Pro number 5 is finding deals, because yes, at conventions, there are typically some really good deals being offered on different curriculums and products. We usually go with a particular budget in mind, knowing that we're going to be purchasing some of our curriculum for the following year. In fact, there have been times when I knew already that there were certain things I wanted to buy, and I waited until the convention to make that purchase because I knew I was going to get sometimes as much as 30% off of a curriculum at that convention. So each curriculum company will be a little different as far as what kind of deals they offer at the convention, but it's totally worthwhile to check out and see if you can save a couple dollars here and there in that way. There also will be different kinds of like exhibitions that will have, anything from books to art supplies, to other products. We found one site that had just tons and tons and tons of art supplies, like tons. And they were insanely good deals. And I actually had not intended to buy art supplies at the convention. And my daughter was laughing because I was just like filling a basket with things. So I was like, we will use this. We will use this. I'm like, I can't pass this deal up. So, be prepared. There are a lot of really fantastic deals, sometimes on things that you weren't planning to purchase, but just kind of go in and know that there might be things that pop up that you would be interested in trying or using to stock up in your homeschool. So realistically, I can't talk about the pros without talking about the cons. And yes, one of the cons will be the cost of attending. The Great Homeschooling Convention in particular, I don't feel is an overwhelming cost to attend. They have a family pass that gets you into everything for the whole 3 days of each convention. They have an individual pass if you're going on your own. They have shopping passes that will get you in for 2 days. And it's very reasonable in terms of cost to actually attend the convention and for what you get out of it. Now, there is travel to consider, depending on how far you're going to get to that particular regional convention. And then, of course, the cost for food and for a hotel and things like that. Me personally, if I was only going to shop, I don't think it would be worth the money to pay to travel and stay in a hotel and attend. But getting what I do out of the workshops and the seminars and getting a chance to talk to different people at these conventions, I feel like I actually do get a good bang for my buck, so to speak. So it really kind of depends on your budget and what it is you're hoping to get out of the convention. Con number 2 is sort of having that pressure to try all the things. I mean, you know what I mean? When you go to a booth, right? The person running that booth is there to sell you a product or a service. That's their job, right? They want you to pick their curriculum. They want you to pick their online learning tool. They want you to pick their college for dual enrollment. And that's their job. And I don't fault them for making that their job. The thing is you'll start to go from booth to booth and you might feel that pressure that you need to say yes to everybody. You need to try all of it. And you might get a little overwhelmed in terms of, oh gosh, do I get this and this and this and this? Or is that too much? Or am I not doing enough? Or, should I sign up for everybody's emails? And what should I do? So, if you tend to kind of get a little anxious when kind of faced with that, at each booth, if you kind of have a hard time just stepping away and saying, no, thank you, then, you might consider that a con to attending a convention. So what's the best way to tackle a convention if you're planning to go? Well, I think the first step is to formulate a plan. Know how many days you're going to go and how it is you want to break up your day. Plan for a lot of walking. The exhibition halls are typically huge. I mean, they are huge. So comfortable shoes, absolute must. I would also recommend, if you're planning on doing a lot of purchasing, to have some way to kind of move things around, maybe like a roller bag or a bigger shoulder bag, something that you can, easily put your purchases in to be able to, take them back to your car, back to your hotel room throughout the day. So, you're not lugging things in your arms all the time. That gets really tiring. I also would recommend taking a look at the vendor list prior to going. They will usually publish a list of every vendor that is going to have a booth there. And even if you don't recognize all of the names, there will probably be some ones that are going to stand out to you that you're going to say, I'd really like to check out that person's booth. Take that list, highlight down the list, all of the ones that you want to make sure that you see, your not to be missed ones. Now, that isn't to say that you shouldn't go and check out the ones that maybe had names you don't recognize, because again, that's where I found a lot of really cool things at past conventions. But I knew there were certain ones that I absolutely wanted to check out. I wanted to see their curriculum, or I wanted to find out when something new was getting released, or I wanted to find out if they were going to be offering a special deal. So I had my not to be missed list, so to speak. The same thing goes with seminars and workshops. Typically, the schedule for those will be posted in advance. You can print it off and see who is speaking, what's the topic, and what time that particular seminar or workshop will be going on. A lot of times workshops and seminars will be going on the entire day. And so you do want to be careful that you don't just highlight your whole calendar and plan to do like nothing but go to those. I mean, you got to plan time to have some downtime, go get something to eat, maybe check out the exhibition hall and things like that. And at some point, you're going to kind of poop out for the day, right? So look at that seminar list, figure out which ones are the ones that just really speak to you, that are the ones that, again, you say are my not to be missed, that I really want to check out. Another tip with regards to the seminars and workshops is to take a lot of notes. Bring along a notepad or an iPad, or have the notes open in your phone and take notes of the things that you're hearing and learning about. A lot of times, seminars and workshops are being given by somebody representing a particular service or a particular curriculum. And so just like at the exhibition hall booths, they are there to try to convince you to use, their product in their service. And so I always go into those workshops kind of with just an open mind. I want to gather what information I can from each of them, but I'm not going to make a decision in that moment, right? If somebody's talking about their particular program for prepping for the SAT, I'm going to listen to what they have to say. I'm going to take notes, and then I might go to a different seminar about the SAT given by somebody else, and I'm going to take notes there too. And later on, back in my hotel room, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to see what those two people said, and then I'm going to come to a decision, if any at that time, about which one I thought was better or which information I felt was most pertinent to us. So go into those seminars with an open mind, take lots of notes, ask lots of questions, but don't sit there and say, well, I've got to make a decision about this right this second, because you don't. My next tip is to walk once, shop once in the exhibition hall. There are, again, so many different things to see that if you start going through, booth by booth, and you start purchasing things right away, usually by the time you hit the first row, you'll have bought more than you intended to. And then you're going to feel like you shouldn't buy things by the time you get to the last row. So I found it most helpful if I spent my first walk through the exhibition hall simply window shopping, right? Checking things out, talking to people, asking questions. And then on my convention center map, because they give you a map that tells you, where all the booths are and who they are, I would just make a little mark with a pen, something like a star, to kind of let me know, like, hey, I'm going to want to come back to this one later. Maybe I'm going to just come back and, look at things more closely, or maybe I'm going to come back and I'm going to make a purchase before I leave the convention. Because these conventions are 3 days long. And if you're going to be there for all 3 days, there's nothing that says that you have to do all of your buying on Thursday, right? You can certainly spend 2 days perusing and purchase on the third day. Or if you're only there for one day, maybe you do a walkthrough first thing in the morning, you walk back through in the afternoon, and that's when you make your purchases. But it does help to limit the impulse buying, because, it's kind of like walking into Target. Homeschool conventions are like Target for homeschool moms. I think that's the best comparison I could say. You see to see all of the beautiful, bright, shiny curriculum and books and things, and you're just going to want to get it all, even if you don't need it all. So it helps if you make yourself walk once, then shop once, just to kind of curb the urge to overspend. So a question you might have is, do I take my kids or do I not take my kids? And depending on the convention, you could really do either. The great homeschooling conventions in particular do have a lot of activities and programming geared for kids. Giant Cows Ministries, they host kind of like a VBS style event for kids. And I think it's for ages 3 through 12. So if you have kids in that age range, you could have them attend that, kind of during the convention while you're going to seminars and you're doing some shopping around. They have a kind of like a teen track as well. It's called Real Faith for the Real World, I believe is what they've called it this year. And it's activities and speakers and things like that geared for teens. So you could take your kids and have them go to those particular activities. I saw lots and lots and lots of families walking through the convention with all of their kids, which you could totally do as well. If you could take a teenager at least once, I think it's definitely worthwhile to do. My daughter was interested in attending with me last year, so I took her with me. And I thought that was really great because, we sat in on these high school and college seminars, and I wanted her to hear that information firsthand from somebody who wasn't me. It was kind of nice for her to hear about the importance of doing certain things and preparing for certain things and kind of what to expect from these different speakers. It was also really great to stop at all of the different college booths and talk about different schools that were available, different places that offer dual enrollment. What does dual enrollment look like? And I really appreciated that at a lot of those booths in particular, the representative spent time talking to my daughter. I mean, yes, they talked to me and they were answering my questions, but they were really talking to her about what it is their college offers. What do their classes look like? What would a typical, course load look like for a dual enrollment student? Because, she's going to be starting to manage her own education, right? In just a few years, she's going to be in college. She's going to be making all of her own decisions on which courses she takes and how she works her schedule and things like that. And so this was just a really great way to start kind of introducing her to that and getting her a chance to have her questions answered as opposed to just getting mine answered. But, she really wanted to know more about like the programming and the things that the colleges were offering. And I thought that was just really great to do. So all in all, our family has really enjoyed our experiences with homeschooling conventions. I have just had a blast getting a chance to learn about different curriculums. Getting a chance to actually hold them in my hands has been great, and flipping through them and getting questions answered, in real time, learning about all different kinds of cool products and services that are out there for homeschooling families that I wouldn't have otherwise known about, and learning just so much from all of these different seminars. So I would encourage you to take a look and see what types of conventions might be happening, close to home or further away. Maybe start with the local ones or a state one. And if you can, consider going to one of the 5 regional great homeschooling conventions. I will link their website down below if you would like to check them out. There's all kinds of information on that website about the locations, getting tickets, hotel deals. At this point, I believe they have most of their seminar schedules posted along with their vendor list, so you can start doing some of that planning to get ready for them. If you happen to be at the Ohio one, April 13th through 15th, and see me, be sure to say hi. Thanks so much for joining me for today's video, everybody. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below to my channel before you go. And I will see you in the next video. Happy homeschooling.